Of the dead birds were accompanied with the name and phone number of the store manager, who's since received hundreds of complaints. Some customers have said that they will rethink where they shop because they feel this business of shooting pigeons is so cruel. Sainsbury's have said no, the extermination was needed after all other methods to get the pigeons out of a warehouse were used. So they tried shooing them, didn't work. What do you think? Is it cruel to shoot them, or are they actually basically flying rats? 08000 288 291, email vine@bbc.co.uk. Going to speak to Cinzia Delegate, who runs a rabbit rescue centre and is from London Wildlife Protection. Hi, Cinzia.
Hello there.
And also with us is Radio 2's pest control expert, Mark Coltman, who's the director of Evolution Pest Control. Cinzia, first of all, you were very alarmed at what happened here with Sainsbury's.
Yes, we were. We were contacted, actually by staff, and told what had happened. We did try to contact the store ourselves, but on a Sunday, weekend management isn't as cooperative or effective as you know, the head office, which is who we would normally deal with.
And how did you find the dead pigeons? Were people sending you photos of them?
So what happened, we're a volunteer-run organisation. One of our volunteers actually works at Sainsbury's. She happened to go into the warehouse, or she was in the warehouse, when she could hear shooting. She turned, and obviously as a rescuer, she screamed and said to stop. She managed to stop the pest controllers from shooting, and she was able to pick up the fifth bird that they shot, who a few minutes later died in her hands. It was very traumatic. When you rescue animals, not just pigeons, but animals day in, day out, you know, to see such a scene is actually it's quite damaging mentally, because this is the last thing you want to see, especially in your workplace.
Understood. Okay, Mark Coleman is here, pest control expert. Afternoon. So they came in apparently through a hole in the warehouse roof, and they couldn't shoo them away, so they had to shoot them?
Yes, well, I would imagine, I don't know the backstory to this, but knowing Sainsbury's and knowing that they would have had a main contractor, one of the larger, pest control companies in, I would presume that they would have, you know, exhausted all other methods to get them out. And apparently there was a hole in the roof. I don't know how long that's been there. That should have been sealed, or is in the process of being sealed.
Right, it was a very big warehouse, and they came in through the hole. Yeah. But you can see how they might have nested after that, or something, or hidden.
Yeah, what they do
is on a girder.
They hide on the girders. They nest on the girders because at the end of the day, they're coming in for warmth, food, and shelter, and that's what they're coming in for.
Now, if they brought you, go on, Cinzia.
Yeah, if I can just step in and say, Mark, the volunteers actually confirmed that there were no deterrents in place to stop the roosting of the birds. It's only nature that any animal will come in, they'll want to come in the warmth outside from the elements. But there's nothing to deter them from from staying. I mean, obviously they'll come in and out through the lorry doors anyway. There is a hole in the roof which they're coming in from. But if you provide a nice place for them to roost, and obviously it's going to be more difficult to get rid of them. We always encourage organisations to look at deterrents.
Yeah, but, in this case, they had got in. Now, I'm just wondering, Mark, if you were on this job and I was Sainsbury's and I said, look, I want them out, but I don't want them dead, what would you have done?
Well, the only...
Nets, maybe?
The only options really are... if you haven't got an option of shooing them out, you can always trap and release them. But then what you're doing, you're fighting against the food source that they're picking up from the warehouse. If the warehouse isn't clean and tidy... Now, it's a very difficult environment. As you just said, they're going to fly through the doors, they're going to land on girders. It's incredibly not cost-effective proofing the inside of a warehouse with any sort of netting or anything to stop them alighting on any surfaces. And what they can do quite easily, especially if you've got racking in the warehouse, come in and alight on racking itself and nest out of the way. So that's, unfortunately, it's one of them things that unless you're going to hermetically seal the warehouse is physically impossible to do.
Cinzia, is there not an issue with hygiene here? There was a very sad incident just a few weeks ago where a 10-year-old boy died at Glasgow's Queen Elizabeth University Hospital after he contracted an infection linked to the droppings of a pigeon that they think may have been in the hospital roof.
And, I mean, the key word here, it was a contributing factor. It wasn't the cause of death. And I hate the headlines that I'm seeing with pigeons kill people. That's not the case. It's extremely, extremely rare to contract anything from pigeons. And yes, of course, I understand that we don't want pigeons, birds, or any species amongst any of our buildings, especially when it comes to food. But I do re-emphasise the fact that organisations need to look at deterrence and anti-pigeon proofing methods before they decide to cull. Cull isn't the solution. Culls are small, they're ineffective, and they've also been scientifically proven to increase populations from 15 to 30% over time.
Go on, Mark.
Yeah, I don't believe that this was a cull as such. I don't think what they were doing was trying to remove a population. I think what they were doing was there was a few under 10 pigeons within the warehouse that needed to be removed for health and safety purposes.
With an air rifle, was it?
With an air rifle.
It wouldn't be a normal rifle.
It would not be a normal rifle. A normal rifle is too powerful and it would have penetrated through the pigeon. What they normally use within pest control is a .22 hollow-tipped pellet under £12 per square foot, because anything over that would then be classified as a firearm, and they would have had a trained operative doing it as carefully and as safely and as quickly as possible, because what they don't want to do is have the bird have any suffering. My main concern would be, why was a member of staff in the same area that somebody was shooting an air rifle in? That area should have been cordoned off by the store.
I wasn't going to bring this up, but actually, what about the health and safety of staff when people are shooting around them? I wasn't going to mention it, but I'm glad you raised it.
Well, it's a good point, yeah. But if they
you're
have
worried
to...
about pigeons, but you're shooting around your staff, and that doesn't make
wasn't
sense.
me.
Is
No, not you. But
Are you happy, Chinzia, if they have to kill them with an air rifle? Is that the kindest way?
I mean, to be honest, we'd rather not kill any birds or any species whatsoever. And I would always recommend that if any organisation has a bird problem whatsoever, they contact an independent consultant who doesn't stand neither for the, one side or the other, but can give them genuine advice on what the best solution is. I don't know how regular this shooting takes place. I mean, it's commonplace in supermarkets and other areas. When we are alerted, of course, we step in. However, if this is a regular thing that happens at this particular supermarket, then obviously they need advice on what the best bird-proofing solution is.
And when we describe...
Shooting isn't a solution.
Yeah, when we describe an animal as a pest, obviously that sort of pins a target on them, Mark. But a pest is... It's only a matter of opinion. You could describe a whale as a pest if you want to. What is a definition of a pest?
Well, the definition I've always been given is an animal or something that is in a place where it shouldn't be.
It's like we don't like them.
Yeah,
Maybe we're the pest.
I mean,
should we all be here? We've infringed on all the animals' spaces. Sorry, I'm just being controversial.
No, that's fine. You be controversial. That's absolutely
Well, there's
fine.
7.5 billion people in the world, and experts say it was built for 2.5 billion.
Yeah,
so
that's quite a cull.
Yes. But why? What gives us the right to describe any animal as a pest?
Because they are, I think, the legal definition of a pest. There are certain animals and there are certain insects and certain things around that should not be in certain areas. Now, when it comes to health and safety and hygiene, if we've got an animal, like if you've got a rodent in the middle of a field, it's not really a pest.
That's
it's just running around. Once it's in a building and once it's eating food and a problem with public health, it's then classified as a pest.
Thank you. There we are. Radio 2's pest control expert, also works for Evolution Pest Control, Mark Coltman, and Chinzia Delegate from London Wildlife Protection.